My younger brother invited my ex to my engagement party and sabotaged my relationship. So I told his wife what he really does when he says he's working late. I always considered myself someone discreet. Someone who preferred to stay out of family problems. I am 29 years old and I live in Austin, Texas with my fiancée Lily. An incredible woman who completely changed my perception of what it means to be happy. But this story is not about our perfect relationship. Rather, it's about how everything was about to fall apart because of the betrayal of my younger brother, Logan. Since we were children, Logan and I were different. I was the quiet one. The one who always preferred a book to a party. While Logan was the soul of all gatherings. The center of attention wherever he was. I always envied that ease he had to connect with others. But I never thought that ability would become a tool to manipulate and cause harm. It all started 3 years ago when I met Lily. It was a warm afternoon in Zilker Park, the most popular park in Austin. I had taken Maximum, my golden retriever, to run for a while. Max was the typical friendly dog that would jump to greet anyone. And that day was no different. While I was distracted checking something on my phone, I heard the unmistakable sound of his tail thumping the ground and his excited panting. When I looked up, there was Lily with her little corgi, Milo. Max and Milo seemed to connect immediately. And it was thanks to that interaction that we started a conversation. What began as a casual chat about dogs and canine training ended with us exchanging numbers. At that moment, I had no idea how Lily would transform my life. She was everything I never knew I needed: funny, ambitious, and with a smile that could light up the darkest room. After a few months of dating, things between us got serious and we decided it was time to introduce our families. This is where Logan comes in. From the beginning, I noticed something strange in how he interacted with Lily. Of course, he had always been charming and charismatic. But this time there was something more. The compliments towards her were constant. But not in a way that seemed innocent. Comments like, "Wow, I can't believe my brother got someone as incredible as you," or, "If you get tired of Liam, you know where to find me," were supposed to be jokes. But there was something in his tone that I didn't like. Lily, being the kind person she is, simply laughed and let them go. But I was starting to feel uncomfortable. Despite these small signs, I never thought that Logan could do something that would really damage our relationship. After all, we were brothers. And although we had our differences, we had always been there for each other. When we announced our engagement and started planning the party to celebrate, Logan was one of the first to offer to help. He told me he wanted to take care of the catering details and the guest list. Something that I initially appreciated since I was busy with work and other preparations. But things started to get out of control quickly. First, there were problems with the catering. Logan had chosen a provider that did not meet what we wanted. And when I tried to fix it, he told me that he had already paid a non-refundable deposit. Although this bothered me, I decided to let it go because, in the end, I didn't want to ruin the event over a minor problem. Then came the guest list. Lily and I had agreed to keep it small with only close friends and family. But when I reviewed the final list sent by Logan, I noticed some names that I didn't recognize. Among them, one in particular caught my attention: Arbar. Arbar was my ex-girlfriend. We had dated over 5 years ago. And although our relationship didn't end catastrophically, it didn't end on good terms either. I had no idea why Logan would have decided to invite her. When I confronted him, his response was evasive: "Oh, I thought maybe you'd like her to be there. After all, you were together for quite a while, right? Besides, it might be fun to see how nervous she gets seeing you engaged." No? I didn't know if he was joking or if he really thought this was a good idea. But I made it clear that I didn't want Arbar at the party and that he should remove her from the list. I thought the issue was resolved. But Logan, as always, had other plans. The night of the party, everything seemed to be going well. Lily was radiant. The guests looked happy. And the atmosphere was just what we had imagined. Until in the middle of the laughter and conversations, I saw Arbar entering through the main door. My heart stopped for a moment. There she was, dressed as if she were just another guest, with a glass of wine in her hand and a smile that made my blood boil. How the hell had she gotten there? Seeing Arbar there, walking with such confidence at my engagement party, was like getting a bucket of cold water thrown on me. For a few seconds, I didn't know what to do. My gaze met Logan's, who was on the other side of the patio, smiling as if everything were under control. That smile, that damn smile, made me understand everything. He had invited her despite my explicit instructions. Lily hadn't noticed anything yet. She was busy talking to some friends near the dessert table. Meanwhile, Arbar began to mingle with the guests as if she were one of them. My first reaction was to approach Logan and confront him. "What the hell is she doing here?" I whispered, trying not to make a scene in front of the others. Logan raised his hands in a defensive gesture, but that cynical smile never left his face. "Relax, brother. It's just Arbar. I thought it would be fun for her to come. You know, to remember old times." Old times? Seriously? All this was starting to smell like sabotage. But I didn't want to put on a show in front of everyone, especially not in front of Lily. So I decided to calm down for now. I went back to Lily's side, trying to act like nothing was wrong. But my mind couldn't stop wandering. What was Logan trying to do? Why would he ruin one of the most important days of my life? As the night went on, Arbar got closer and closer to Lily. At first, I thought it was maybe a coincidence. But then I noticed something peculiar every time Lily moved away from me. Arbar found an excuse to talk to her. From a distance, it looked like a casual conversation, but I couldn't help but feel that something was wrong. Finally, I decided to intervene. "Arbar," I called, walking towards them with a tense smile. "Can we talk for a moment?" Lily looked at me, somewhat confused, but didn't say anything. Arbar, on the other hand, just smiled. That smile she had always used to get away with things. "Sure, Liam," she said, following me towards a more secluded corner of the patio. When we were away from the others, I dropped the cordiality mask. "Why are you here, Arbar?" I snapped, trying to keep my voice low but firm. She shrugged, feigning innocence. "I didn't know it would be a problem. Logan invited me. I thought it would be good to see you after all. We spent a lot of time together. That was years ago, and it didn't end well," I replied. "I don't know what you're looking for, but this is not your night. It's mine and Lily's. So please don't cause trouble." Arbar frowned but didn't seem intimidated. "Relax, Liam. I'm not here to ruin anything. I just wanted to congratulate you. Lily seems lovely. Although..." She paused, looking at where Lily was. "Have you already told her everything about us?" My blood boiled. What was she referring to? Of course, Lily knew that Arbar was my ex, but the suggestive tone of her words made me suspect that she was trying something more. "You have nothing to do with my current relationship," I said, clenching my teeth. "I suggest you don't talk to Lily about us. This is not the place for that." Arbar smiled again, as if she had won something in that little confrontation. "Whatever you say, Liam. I don't want to cause trouble. At least not tonight." And with that, she walked away, leaving me more worried than ever. What did she mean by "not tonight"? My instinct told me that this was not over. The night continued, but the tension was palpable. Logan continued to act as if everything were fine, talking to the guests and pretending to be the best brother in the world, while Arbar seemed to cause discomfort just with her mere presence. Lily, on the other hand, was completely oblivious to all this, and I wanted her to stay that way. I didn't want this special day to be ruined. Near the end of the party, Arbar found another opportunity to get close to Lily. This time, I decided to stay close, pretending to be busy with a drink while listening to their conversation. "Lily, you are so lucky to have Liam," said Arbar with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. He has always been so dedicated. I know, replied Lily, smiling warmly. I am very excited for our future together. Arba tilted her head as if she were considering something. Yes. Well, Liam and I also had a great future together. Or so I thought. But I guess some things are not meant to be. Lily frowned. Confused. What do you mean? Before Arba could answer, I intervened. Arba, I think it's time for you to go. The party is ending and I'm sure you have things to do. She looked at me, clearly enjoying the discomfort she had created. Of course. Liam, I don't want to be a bother. But it was a pleasure meeting you. Lily, I hope everything goes perfectly for you both. With that, Arba said goodbye and left. But the damage had already been done. Lily looked at me, clearly confused and a little upset. Why didn't you tell me she was your ex? I tried to explain to her, telling her that I didn't know she would be there, that Logan had acted on his own. Although she understood, it was clear that this had sowed all of this was exactly what Logan wanted. That night, after the guests left, I decided to confront Logan again. I had to know what he was looking for with all this. Why would he deliberately ruin such an important day for me? After the last guest said goodbye and the noise of the engagement party faded, my mind kept spinning. Lily was exhausted and decided to go to bed early. But I couldn't rest. What had happened with Arba? And more importantly, Logan's role in all of this didn't leave me in peace. So, I went to look for him. I found him in the backyard, relaxed with a beer in his hand and that same cheeky smile on his face. It seemed like he was enjoying the show he had orchestrated. We can talk, I said, trying to keep my calm, although inside I was boiling with rage. Logan nodded with disdain, as if he were doing me a favor by paying attention. Sure. Brother. What's up? He asked with a tone of fake innocence that infuriated me even more. I approached him and stared at him. You know perfectly well what's up. You invited Arba after I specifically told you not to. Not only that, but she was all the time hanging around Lily and talking about our past relationship. What the hell are you trying to do? Logan? Logan chuckled and took a drink of his beer. Relax. Liam. I was just trying to make the night a little more interesting. Interesting? I snapped, raising my voice. This is not a game. Logan. This was one of the most important days of my life. And you decided to sabotage it. Why? What do you gain from this? His smile disappeared for a moment, and his face adopted a more serious expression. You know what your problem is, Liam, he said, pointing at me with the bottle. You always think you're the perfect guy. The good guy who never makes mistakes. But you're not. Arba is proof of that. What does Arba have to do with this? I asked, frustrated. Logan got up from the chair and took a step towards me. She was perfect for you. You know. But you treated her like she was worth nothing. So, yeah. Maybe I thought you deserved a little reminder that you are not as blameless as you like to believe. That makes no sense, I replied, trying to understand his twisted logic. Arba and I broke up years ago, and it was mutual. Besides, what does that have to do with Lily? Logan didn't answer immediately. He looked down as if he was considering his words before finally speaking. Lily is incredible. You know. But I can't help thinking that she deserves something better. Someone more exciting. I looked at him incredulously. Now everything made sense. This wasn't about Arba or my past. It was about Lily. Logan was jealous. For some reason. In his distorted mind, he thought that he should be with her. This has nothing to do with Arba. Right? I said, feeling a mixture of fury and astonishment. You're jealous because I'm with Lily. Is that it? Logan smiled. But this time there was no humor in his expression. Maybe. Or maybe I just think that you don't deserve her. Have you ever wondered why someone like her would want to be with you? His words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I had always had insecurities. But I never imagined that my own brother would use them against me. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. But then something inside me changed. I wasn't going to let Logan ruin what I had with Lily. You know what? Logan? I said, taking a step toward him. I don't care what you think. Lily and I are together because we love each other. And nothing you say or do is going to change that. If you can't be happy for me, then maybe it's time for you to walk away. Logan was silent for a moment, clearly surprised by my response. Finally, he shrugged and sat back down. Do what you want, brother. But remember my words when everything falls apart. I didn't answer. I turned around and went back to the house, closing the door behind me. As I went upstairs to join Lily, I felt a mixture of relief and concern. I had confronted Logan, but I knew that this wasn't over. The following days were tense. Lily asked me more than once about our bar and the reason for her presence at the party. I explained everything as best as I could, including my conversation with Logan. Although she believed me, I could tell that this had cast a small shadow over our engagement. Then, one afternoon, I received a text message from our bar. At first, I thought about ignoring it. But curiosity got the better of me. The message said, "We can talk. There's something you need to know about Logan." My heart accelerated. What else could go wrong? I hesitated for a moment but finally decided to reply. Okay. Let's talk. But this is not to relive the past. If you have something important to say, say it. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop the next day. That night, I couldn't sleep. What could our bar have to tell me about Logan? What was my brother up to now? The next day, I met our bar at the coffee shop. She was sitting at a table near the window with an expression that mixed nervousness and determination. I approached and sat down across from her. "Thanks for coming," she said with a smile that seemed almost genuine. "Just tell me what you need to say," I replied, not wanting to prolong the conversation. Our bar took a sip of her coffee before speaking. "Logan contacted me weeks ago. Before the party. He told me he wanted me to attend because he thought it would be interesting to relive the past. But it wasn't just that." She paused, and I could see that she was carefully choosing her words. "He told me that he believed that Lily and he should be together. That you didn't deserve her. And that he was looking for a way to make her see that." I felt my stomach sink. This confirmed my worst suspicions. Logan wasn't just jealous. He was actively trying to sabotage my relationship. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked, trying to keep my calm. Our bar sighed. "Because I realized that Logan is completely out of control. And although I don't have the best relationship with you, I don't want to be part of this. Especially because there's something more." "What thing?" I asked, fearing the answer. Our bar looked directly into my eyes before dropping the bomb. "Logan is not only trying to ruin your relationship. He also has problems in his own life. Problems that could affect all of you." Our bar's confession left me frozen. Not only had he tried to sabotage my engagement, but Logan was apparently entangled in something much more complicated than I imagined. "What do you mean by problems that could affect us all?" I asked, trying to maintain calm, although I felt a knot forming in my stomach. Our bar looked down for a moment before answering. "Logan told me that he was having a difficult time. At first, I thought he was referring to something typical, work problems or an existential crisis. But then he mentioned in passing that he had to maintain certain appearances." She stopped and took a sip of her coffee before continuing. "Later, I found out that he's in trouble with money. And I'm not talking about normal debts. It seems he owes money to people you shouldn't mess with." My heart began to beat fast. Logan had always been a bit reckless with money, spending more than he had on unnecessary luxuries. But I never thought it would get this serious. "How do you know all this?" I asked, trying to digest what I had just heard. "Why did he tell you?" "He just spilled it to me, Liam. Like it was something trivial. As if I wasn't going to pay attention. But what worries me the most is that he mentioned Lily. That last sentence hit me like a bucket of cold water. What does Lily have to do with all of this? I asked, my voice louder than I intended. Arbar seemed to hesitate for a moment but finally answered. He said something about using her to solve his problems. He didn't go into details. But his tone gave me chills. I think he's trying to manipulate the situation in some way. Honestly, I didn't understand it all. But I felt that I had to warn you. I was speechless. How far was Logan capable of going? He was willing to put not only my relationship but also Lily at risk to get out of his own problems. Concern and fury mixed inside me. And I felt an urgent need to confront him again. This time to get direct answers. Thank you for telling me this, I said to Arbar. Although I still distrusted her intentions. But if this was true, Logan had just crossed a line that I couldn't ignore. Arbar nodded and seemed relieved. I don't want to be involved in this any more than necessary. Liam, I just thought you deserved to know before things get out of control. We said goodbye. And as I walked back to the car, my mind was in a storm of thoughts. I knew I had to talk to Logan. But this time it wouldn't be a simple discussion. I needed to get to the bottom of all this. Understand what he was doing. And protect Lily from anything he might be plotting. That same night, I waited until Lily went to sleep. She had spent the whole day worried about the wedding preparations. And the last thing I wanted was to burden her with this. So, I silently left the house and drove to Logan's apartment. When I arrived, I noticed that the lights were on. I knocked on the door hard, not caring if I woke up the neighbors. After a few moments, Logan opened, and his expression quickly changed from surprise to annoyance. "What the hell are you doing here at this hour?" he asked, clearly irritated. "We need to talk," I said, entering without waiting for an invitation. Logan closed the door behind me with a slam and crossed his arms. "What's it about now? Still whining about our bar?" "It's not about our bar," I replied, fixing my gaze on him. "It's about you. Your money problems. And how you're dragging Lily into this." For a moment, Logan seemed confused. But then his face hardened. "Who told you that?" he asked, his voice lower and more dangerous. "It doesn't matter who told me. What matters is that you need to explain to me what's going on right now. Because if you're plotting something that could affect Lily, I swear I'm not going to stand by idly." Logan looked at me silently for a long moment, as if he were deciding how much he should say. Finally, he sighed and dropped onto the sofa. "It's not what you think, Liam," he said, although his tone wasn't convincing. "I'm just going through a difficult time. Okay. I made some mistakes. I bet more than I should. And now I'm trying to fix it." "And Lily?" I asked, crossing my arms. "What does she have to do with all this?" Logan rubbed his forehead, visibly uncomfortable. "It has nothing to do with Lily. I just said that to, vent. I wasn't going to do anything. I swear." "You expect me to believe you?" I replied, my anger rising. "You've already lied to me before. Logan. You invited Arbar to my engagement party to ruin everything. How can I trust that you don't have a plan to use Lily or destroy our relationship?" "I don't want to destroy your damn relationship," he shouted, suddenly standing up. "I'm just messed up. Okay? I'm desperate. But I'm not a monster." "Then prove that you're not," I replied, looking directly at him. "Tell me the truth. Who do you owe money to? And how serious is it?" Logan hesitated but finally gave in. "They're people from a clandestine casino. It's not that much money, but enough for them to be putting pressure on me. But things got complicated. Now they want me to pay them soon. Or I don't know. I don't want to find out." I felt a mixture of relief and concern. On the one hand, Logan was being honest. But on the other, he had messed up big time. "This is not just your problem, Logan," I said with the firmest tone I could muster. "Now, you're putting our whole family at risk. And I'm not going to allow this to affect Lily." So, from this moment on, stay away from her. Understood? Logan nodded, although he didn't seem completely convinced. Understood, but something in his expression told me that this was far from over. I left Logan's apartment with a temporary sense of relief but also with a grim presentiment. Although he had promised to stay away from Lily, something in his attitude told me that he wasn't being completely honest. At least now I knew what I was up against. Logan was in a serious financial mess, and his recklessness had already begun to affect our lives. When I got home, I found Lily awake in the living room, wrapped in a blanket and with an expression of concern on her face. "Where were you?" she asked, looking at me with a slight hint of distrust. I couldn't lie to her. Not after everything that had already happened. "I went to talk to Logan," I replied, sitting down next to her. I needed to confront him about what he did at the party and other things I found out today. "What things?" she asked, visibly alarmed. I took a deep breath and told her everything. From Arbar's invitation to Logan's money problems. I explained how he had bet more than he could pay and that he was now in debt to dangerous people. I also told her that although he had mentioned her name in a worrying context, I had made sure that he was not going to hurt her. Lily listened to everything calmly. But in the end, her eyes reflected a mixture of surprise and disappointment. "Liam, why didn't you tell me this before?" she asked. Her tone was calm but firm. This doesn't just affect you. We're in this together. I didn't want to worry you," I admitted. "You already have enough on your plate with the wedding. And I thought I could handle this alone. But now I understand that it was a mistake." She took my hand and looked directly into my eyes. "We need to be a team in everything. Liam, this is serious. And Logan, he's not okay. I don't think we can trust his word." I nodded. Lily was right. Logan had crossed so many lines that I couldn't afford to blindly believe his promises. We needed a plan. The following days, I tried to keep busy with the wedding preparations. But the matter with Logan was still on my mind. It was then that I received an unexpected call from our mother. Her voice was tense, as if something terrible had just happened. "Liam, I need you to come home. It's about Logan." I immediately stood up, my heart pounding. "What happened? Is he okay?" "He's here. But you need to hear it for yourself. It's complicated." I arrived at my parents' house as quickly as I could. Logan was sitting on the living room sofa with a lost look and a disheveled appearance. He looked like a defeated man. Mom was next to him, but her expression was of concern and disapproval. "What's going on, Logan?" I asked, getting straight to the point. He looked up, and for the first time, I saw something akin to genuine repentance in his eyes. "I made a mistake," he said, his voice barely audible. "A big mistake." It took him a moment, but he finally began to speak. It turned out that the people he owed money to had started to put pressure on him more intensely. First with phone calls, then with unexpected visits to his apartment. The situation had become unsustainable. And Logan, in his desperation, had tried to get a loan using guarantees that he couldn't meet. When that failed, he resorted to something even lower. He tried to steal money from our parents' savings. Mom intervened at that moment. We discovered it just in time. I found suspicious movements in our joint account. And with pressure, Logan confessed everything. "But Liam, this is too much. I don't know what to do." I felt a surge of anger but also a deep sadness. Logan had crossed a line that I never imagined possible. He was no longer just ruining his own life, now he was endangering our family. "You can't keep going as if nothing had happened, Logan," I said, my voice trembling with indignation. "This has to stop. What makes you think you can involve everyone in your mess without consequences?" Logan lowered his head, unable to answer. Mom looked at me, expecting me to know what to do. But the truth was that I didn't have all the answers. However, I knew that I couldn't leave things like this. "First things first," I said. "Mom, secure your accounts. Change the passwords. And make sure Logan has no access to anything. Then, Logan, you need to seek help. This is not something you can handle alone. And until you do, I want you to stay away from Lily and our family. I can't risk your chaos dragging us all down. Mom nodded, although her expression was one of sadness. Logan, on the other hand, remained silent, nodding weakly. That night, I told Lily everything. She was worried but also relieved that we were finally taking steps to protect ourselves. Do you think Logan will really seek help? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. But I can't do any more for him. It has to be him who decides to change. In the following weeks, we took steps to distance ourselves from Logan. Although it was painful, we knew it was necessary. Lily and I focused on our relationship and the wedding preparations, determined not to let his chaos steal our happiness. Shortly before the wedding, I received a message from Logan. I hadn't seen him since that day at my parents' house. It said, I know I've been a mess. I'm seeking help. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I wanted you to know that I'm trying. Although the words were comforting, I knew I needed time to rebuild trust. For now, my priority was Lily and our life together. When the wedding day finally arrived, everything was perfect. Surrounded by friends and family, we sealed our commitment with a promise to face any challenge together, no matter what comes. And although Logan wasn't there, I felt a sense of peace. Maybe, just maybe, this was the first step to closing that complicated chapter of our lives.